My body was twitching because OMG, my mind was still racing like a banshee, and yet there still might be a chance I can go vegan tomorrow. Only 15 or so minutes left for midnight, and looks like my cognitive dissonance was a shoot in my head this time as it ran out of ammo. I scroll through YouTube and I come across a powerful 5-minute video called Dairy is Scary. And I knew at that moment watching that video was truly necessary. 2 minutes in and I can't even finish it because the content in that vid was enough to make you truly disgusted. Only 5 minutes left till midnight, and I knew that once that clock hits, I had to get rid of my selfishness and align my actions with my morals so I can be well adjusted. Boom! New Year's hits and I'm finally vegan and I feel morally superior and I'm no longer morally inferior. The reason why I am sharing this with all of you is because I want you to see how the carnist mind works when it is confronted with the truth, trying everything it can to justify animal abuse to keep the mind soothed. So after my experience, let me tell you one of the most important aspects when it comes to going vegan. So now listen closely. Stop wasting time and thinking about it. Don't let your mind fall in the pit. Put yourself in the animal's position and think about them. Trust me, it will stop making you act so grossly. Documentaries like Earthlings and Dominion should help you do the trick, while videos like Dairy is Scary are also enough to help you with that real quick. Time flies and goes by, and by next thing you know, I'm wondering, hey, should I do some activism? But then I quickly remembered that there was no way in hell that I was gonna deal with that carnage sophism. Even though I realized just how serious an injustice it truly is with these poor innocent animals being murdered in so many different ways. If we killed humans at the same rate as we kill animals for just quote unquote food, only the entire population would be wiped out in 17 days. And yet I knew so much about veganism, such as the fact that it's about their animals and the animals only in being against their oppression. Health and environment are just secondary benefits and have nothing to do with veganism. And yeah, I agree, it ain't a bad idea to mention, but we gotta make sure that we stick to the ethics only so we can empower our fight for animal liberation, to make a strong impression with everlasting progression. So fast forward to 2021, and I'm still learning more and more about veganism, and yet still not really considering activism because, again, I hate having to deal with that carnage sophism. I already went through all of that with my family and friends, something that all of us vegans here can relate to in terms of how your loved ones have to resort to dogmatism to justify their abuses with excuses. So eventually I took a job, and to cut a long story short, animals were involved in the mix, but there's a big but. Their rights were not violated. Sitting here wondering if working that job was vegan, so I went to vegan subreddits. But I was worried that asking them may result in me getting humiliated. Ask away is all I say. I'm wondering if it's vegan, but yet I still don't want to do this, even though I knew that it was the only way to pay off my debts and to literally feed myself. My brain then switched and I knew that I was gonna do this. I might as well speak up because this injustice ain't gonna stop itself. So on to April 16, 2021. And I did activism for the first time with AV. Honoree is how I feel, knowing I'm with the same org that I called an extremist terrorist group back in the day, not knowing I would ever cross rays with them. But here I am. The more and more I kept doing activism for the animals, I knew there was no way I was gonna go back, because this constant attack on the animals is easily comparable to slavery and colonization. Hold up, did I offend you? Well, I have you know that I'm a black African American Sudanese Arab coming from an indigenous background. So what's with your frustration? I'm always outreaching black carnists, and they seem to easily make the connection. When I make that comparison and I look at their faces and I see no agitation, all while having a strong abolitionist and anti-specious message with no baby steps in the mix and not falling for those carnage tricks, making sure that all of that is enough to raise the bar, because any vegan advocating for anything less than that is very, very bizarre. Continuing to be active for the animals at disruptive protests while screaming, there is no excuse for animal. So to all the vegans who continue to stay silent on this issue and choosing not to speak up, let me give you some news. Let me give you some news, man. Let me give you some news. Let me give you some news, because you're not going like this. Let me give you some news. Try attending a vigil or just simply watching slaughterhouse footage and ask yourself if staying silent on this tragedy might actually mean that you're filled with apathy. And why is this something that you choose? Speaking of vigils and slaughterhouses footage, those are the two biggest reasons why I and you should never stop fighting against this injustice. Keep on fighting for the animals until they realize they see bliss. Cause I ain't never stopping my fight for the animals. And if anything, from now on, My advocacy for the animals will continue to intensify because I'm not supporting and stopping until the day that I die, and I hope you do the same, as we're all in this together for the animals and the animals only. So let's not lose to carnism oh so pronely, and let's continue to fight for their cooperation until every cage is empty and even buried down to the ground. Let us fight for animal liberation. Never stop the fight for the animals, and make sure that when you're fighting for them, you're passionate and electrified. So let us all keep fighting for the animals until the day that we die. Before I leave, I want to give a big and massive shout out to Dr. Faraz Harsini and Allied Scholars for Animal Protection. I know this isn't a soapbox to, glorify animal rights organizations or anything like that, but oh my gosh, she's doing such amazing work. If any of you are college students, right, because Dr. Faraz Harsini is with this organization, please come and talk to me. I got some cards and I got some spicy information for you. Thank you so much all for being here for the animals. Let us fight for animal liberation.